We're going to talk about Canada's unaffordability, the mismanaged healthcare system, and the stagnation in their economy, as a recent study has found that many in British Columbia have borrowed money from creditors to pay for groceries. It's no secret, guys. Anyone checking their bank account, Canada is facing a massive affordability crunch. We aren't just talking about gas prices anymore. It's a perfect storm of all of the sky-high mortgage rates. The housing market feels out of reach for an entire generation. The grocery aisles, the rental offices, Canadians are feeling the squeeze as wages are struggling to keep up with the pace of the sheer cost of existing. Let's go ahead and let's review this clip from CBC British Columbia.
Vancouver is a very difficult place to live, unfortunately. It's beautiful. It's very pricey.
For the price of food, the price of all the other things.
For years, housing, food, and transportation costs have pushed people on the West Coast to their limit.
I moved to Dawson Creek because of it.
Some people, if something happened tomorrow and say it costs $300, $500, that's it. They're kind of screwed. They don't know if they put food on the table or light electricity in the apartment.
Based on a single-family household, it can cost up to $4,900 a month to live in Vancouver. Even with a living wage of $4,700 factored in, that's a nearly $200 shortfall. Debt and financial counselors are now warning that more people are using credit cards to make ends meet.
Well, it's our number one reason. It's almost 30% of people. It's that the cost of living is why they're seeing us to file either a bankruptcy or a proposal just to get things back under control again.
According to the latest BC consumer debt study, using credit for essential costs was the top reported cause of debt in 2025. Respondents were a sample of consumers who made a formal insolvency filing in BC. Credit cards were the main type of problem debt.
And that's worrisome because at some point people will hit that crisis point where there's no more room on that credit card, they don't know how to buy groceries, and the collection agencies are knocking down their door.
Yeah, people are buying DoorDash with Kalshi. It's Klarna, excuse me, not Kalshi. Kalshi is where you can bet on things. The safety net also that they were so proud of is fraying at the edges. Their healthcare system, once the crowning jewel of their national pride, it's buckling under the weight of the mismanagement and the staffing shortages. We're seeing record long waiting times in the ER and the growing doctor deficiency. This means millions without primary care. It's a systemic backlog. Many people are worried that the current model cannot survive without radical floor-to-ceiling renovation.
Financial pressure can cause anxiety, leaving many to wait to seek help.
But by the time people come through our door, they do have this overwhelming sense of despair.
There are solutions
like
debt consolidation programs and getting a second set of eyes on your budget to pinpoint potential savings. Some areas of Metro Vancouver have also started to see housing costs come down over the past year, leaving hope of affordability on the horizon.
Do you know why the housing costs are going down? Because everyone is leaving. That is why housing costs are going down, because no one wants to live there currently. You have Canadians making videos that are like 15 reasons to leave Canada now and forever.
Canada used to be the dream destination for millions around the world. Now, thousands are quietly leaving. A record 120,000 Canadians left last year, the most ever recorded. And it's not just retirees or students that are leaving, it's skilled, working-age Canadians taking their talent and capital elsewhere. And here at Blueprint, we've helped a lot of people plan out their move abroad, and I've heard every reason you can imagine for why they decided to leave. So in this video, let's go over the most common reasons to the least common. Starting with number one, which is the housing crisis and the soaring cost of living.
Obviously.
I just talked to a couple of students who said, it just feels like so much is out of reach at this point. For example, saying something like just being able to afford a house doesn't seem like something that they could do.
There's a housing crisis right now, and a lot of people can't really afford the necessities.
Because I don't want to be homeless again. Every time I come to Nova Scotia, I become homeless.
Now, it's no secret that housing costs have exploded across Canada. The average rent for a two-bedroom apartment has jumped over 27% since 2019, with cities like Montreal up 70% and Vancouver nearing $3,200 a month. Things like groceries, gas, and childcare costs have all surged, pushing household budgets to the limit. And according to Stats Canada, nearly half of Canadians are deeply worried about housing affordability, and for many, the dream of owning a home is completely dead. And it's about being able to even stay in the country at all. This growing financial pressure is the number one reason I hear by far why Canadians are packing up and leaving.
Well, your country's
it's really
stagnated.
hard to build wealth when rent takes up half your income. Next reason is better career opportunities. Many Canadians are realizing the opportunity and pay are often stronger outside of the country. For example,
More often than
a
not.
software engineer in Toronto earns about $106,000 per year on average, and the same role in San Francisco pays around $222,000 US.
And that's
of the high
San
taxes
Fran.
and the national debt. Canada's top marginal tax rate now exceeds 53% in provinces like Ontario and BC, among the highest in the developed.
Okay, let me read their net taxes that you have to pay as a Canadian citizen. You ready? In let's go with the lowest personal tax rate for the Canadian, one Canadian province. I believe it's NU. I don't know what Canada, NU. Nunavut, excuse me, Nunavut. The lowest cost is for the province of Nunavut for your personal tax rate, and it is 44.5% of your income. The highest is, I believe, Newfoundland or something like that, and NL, and it is 54.8% of your income is taken by the federal government.
World. But what worries many Canadians and myself even more is how those taxes are being used. Government debt has climbed to a staggering $96,000 per person.
They're pissing it away.
And that's been up sharply since the pandemic.
They're pissing it away and they're turning it into beer.
This is a huge concern because as debt rises, so do interest costs. Canada now spends tens of billions of dollars each year just on debt interest payments alone. Money that could have gone towards healthcare, housing, or tax relief. And with higher interest rates in recent years, that burden keeps growing. Now, if this debt continues on this path, Canada could eventually face some serious financial strain. Next reason is weather. The harsh winters, the short summers, and the months of gray skies make Canada a very tough place for anyone who craves warmth or outdoor living.
That's why I've been thinking about leaving Minnesota for the longest time, but, you know, just like Vin Diesel, family.
And for many Canadians, it's not only about the weather, it's about the lifestyle that weather limits. So if you love the beach, your options here are very limited and seasonal.
I love the
best.
bitches.
For people who thrive on sunshine, being able to run, swim, or just sit outside every day can feel like freedom to them. As someone who grows up in Alberta where you barely get to see the sun during the winter, that could deeply affect people that really crave the sun. So after years of scraping ice off of windshields and navigating treacherous roads to go into work and waiting for summer to finally arrive, it's no wonder many Canadians start dreaming of a life where the good weather never ends.
Like in Fargo, North Dakota, right? Like, or let's try, what's another good spot? Des Moines, Iowa, or Duluth, Minnesota. They move somewhere deep south where the weather's always nice.
The reason I see is remote work and global lifestyle upgrades. Now, the rise of remote work has opened the door for Canadians to live better for less. If you could earn in Canadian or US dollars while living in places like Mexico or Thailand, that could easily double or triple your quality of life. Now, according to Numbeo, the cost of living in places like Playa del Carmen in Mexico or Chiang Mai in Thailand is about 60% lower than in Toronto. Then healthcare struggles. Now, Canada's universal healthcare is often touted as a national pride point, but it's also becoming one of the biggest frustrations. Wait times for family doctors, specialists, and even basic procedures have reached record highs. Canadians now wait an average of 27.7 weeks between seeing a general practitioner.
27.7 weeks in days. How many? That is 193 days. And if you bring this up to somebody from America where they're like, no, that's not real, that's not true. When you go, well, yeah, you got to wait actually months to see a doctor, people will go and look at you in your face and they'll go, that's not true, that's right-wing American propaganda. This is from Canadians themselves, that they're waiting 193 days to see a doctor.
And receiving treatment. The longest ever recorded. That's over half a year, which is insane. Now, on top of that, the World Index of Healthcare Innovation ranks.
And then people will tell you that's not true. People will tell you that that is just flat out not true. I've had a conversation as of recent with someone where I made the point, hey, yeah, you can go to Canada if you want to get a lump checked out. However, you're going to have to wait until that lump is a knob and it's like the size of a grapefruit versus a grape. You know what I mean? At that point, that's when Canadians will be like, all right, you've waited long enough. Let's take a good look at that. Oh, that shit looks pretty bad. You should have come in earlier. I was trying to.
Is Canada only 18th out of 32 developed countries for overall healthcare performance. So we're in the bottom half for the developed countries. Many Canadians with the means to do so are now looking abroad for faster, more efficient private care.
Private care, like in China, where you can pay to have an innocent, like, college-age student snatched off the streets. They'll steal his liver for you. They will. In China, they do that shit. They'll nab people off the streets. Don't think they don't do it here. They just they haven't created webs of it. They haven't created like entire networks of it in particular states. I'm sure like in California, New York, and whatnot. But you have to pay specialists if you're like from Utah and you need a new heart and you need to have someone snatched off the streets of Salt Lake. You know what I mean? You have to go with a specialist. But over in China, you could be in the Beizhong district of Kengjingbi, and they'll have like a business probably on a storefront corner that you can go to called King Zhao's nab 'em up business. That's what it is over there.
The next big reason is to stretch their retirement savings. More Canadians are realizing their CPP and OAS and retirement savings can go much further abroad. In Canada, rising costs are definitely eating away at their fixed incomes, but in countries with lower living costs and affordable private healthcare, retirees can often greatly increase their quality of life on the same budget.
Hell yeah.
Many destinations also have favorable tax treaties with Canada, meaning CPP and OAS payments can be received abroad, sometimes with little or no local tax. And
that is a scam waiting to happen. I'm sorry to say it, Canada, you've got to get that shit under control. You're getting money funneled out of your country.
Next is crime and safety concerns. Now, more Canadians are feeling uneasy about safety in their own neighborhoods. There's been a rise in break-ins, car thefts, and increasing homelessness, which have...
What is this? Minneapolis?
become more and more concerning in many cities. There's also drug use and addiction issues, which have made many urban centers feel way less secure, especially for families. And while Canada remains a safe country by global standards, the growing sense of disorder from property crime to open drug use has really changed how some people feel about where they live.
Because a lot of people don't realize it's optional for your society to be like that. People will tell you, you go to any country, you see poverty everywhere. Not true. You go to major capital cities like in Japan, the streets are clean, the poverty is limited. The population, there's little girls that are walking around the train stations, you know what I mean? And there's a degree of safety, there's a degree of cultural trust. Yes, absolutely, there's still kidnappings, there's still fucked shit. But it's not nearly as common as it is in Western developed nations where, open drug use is it's tolerated to some extent. You know what I mean? You won't have a civil obedience officer coming up to you like in China if your eyes are a little bloodshot.
For those seeking peace of mind, quieter streets, and a stronger sense of safety, that feeling alone can be reason enough to start fresh somewhere else. To me,
they'll go live in Dubai.
Extremely safe in Canada, I have noticed a big decline in recent years. Next is family and relationships abroad. Many Canadians leave to simply join a spouse or partner overseas, or to raise children closer to their extended families. Others move back to, say, a partner's home country after years in Canada, finding comfort in familiar culture and family supporting networks. Many also find that dating prospects feel better abroad, where social dynamics or lifestyle values align more closely with what they're looking for.
Lifestyle values.
With more cross-border relationships and international families than ever, though, personal ties are becoming one of the strongest motivators to relocate.
There you go, man. I mean, I'll leave this in the description if you guys really feel like checking it out, because it is an interesting video, and I think every American who glazes Canada needs to hear it. They need to have the glasses torn off, because I hate when people say things that have been true in the past, where Canada, admittedly, it did have a lot of things over America that made us jealous. However, when it comes to their abundance, when it comes to the lie around them being a Norway-esque, beautiful fantasy for a lot of people that a lot of people would love to live in eventually, it's not there. And unfortunately, the substance that a lot of people want it's not available to them there. And it's going to break a lot of hearts, but unfortunately, those hearts need to be broken.